Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Wednesday Lunch Live Sketch. My name's Frank Summers, and today we're going to be sketching the Skid. I knew I was going to screw it up. The Squid Kids from Nintendo's Splatoon. It's a mouthful, Squid Kids. I like that game. It's a pretty great game. I really enjoy playing it. I've noticed I'm getting my butt kicked in it now, though. Everybody's far surpassing me, so I just get trounced every time I play it. Still, it's a blast to play. But as usual, what I would like to do is go back to the previous week and go over the live sketch from that time, and just point out a few things that I don't like, and just critique it. And of course, I usually find these things after I post it someplace, and like the mistakes glaringly pop out in front of my face, and it always makes me wince. So for this guy. So I did these guys last week. This is from Attack on Titan. And I spent a little more time than normal on this, just adding some color tones and fleshing it out a little more. Excuse the pun, flesh. Someone commented, where's their penises? And I'm like, well, I gotta watch the show, brah. But in terms of the drawing, I do not like this area right here. It is an odd design. If you were to just kind of squint your eyes and focus on the circle I drew here, you will see that this is just a strange, it's like a strange intersection. Like, I'll blow this up as an example. Anytime you have like lines converging into something like this, it flattens the image out, right? So if I wanted to go back into this again and to redraw this, which I won't, I'm just going to move on in life. So this line here showing us where the rib cage is fine in and of itself. However, just take the arm and scooch it up a little bit. You know, it just gives a little more depth. Right? No, do not do that. Yes. This just creates more depth. And whenever you have this, just flattens the image. But in general, this one came out okay. I wish I made him a little more bulky. I watched a couple more episodes recently since drawing this, and this guy is way more ripped than I initially made him. So I would have given him way bigger muscles, like really jack him up a little more. You know, like just make him way more hulking. I went with a little more of a thinner version of him, but since then, like I said, I've taken in a few more episodes, and he's just way more jacked, dude, way more buffed. So that's that. We're gonna move on. Thank you very much. Bye bye. No, I will not save you. I already took the liberty of sketching out the Squid Kid. It's a mouthful. I like these guys. They're fun. Let's just pick a color here. And I'm using my Kyle's animator pencil. I really enjoy this pencil a lot. But I took some time ahead of time to just rough in some ideas, play with some proportions. I had some issue with the gun at first. My initial sketch, which I got rid of, the gun, I'll quickly draw what I initially did on another layer. Here, I'll make it red so you can see it. Initially, the gun was more like this, because the guns are giant, right? They're big, fat, pink guns, and like I had the tank cut, and like it was like intersecting the head, and I'm like, well, what do I do with the head? Do I just move the head back further? And like now it's just getting weird. I guess I could have done it like that and really have pushed. You know, this is my eye line. This is the center line. Here's her eyes. I guess I could have done something like that. But I instead went with just taking the gun and rotating it a little bit in space to not be limited to the 2D picture plane, so to speak. It's something that I often forget, that we can take things and rotate them. You know, we don't have to play the gun as this flat rectangle. We can rotate it in space. And in doing so, it freed up a lot of room for me to play with. And it just makes it more interesting, frankly. So let's move forward with this. There's going to be times where I want to fall a little quiet. Haven't quite mastered the art of drawing and speaking at the same time. But what I'm going to do is just try and verbalize some of my thought process here, which is really what these videos are all about. It's me trying to verbalize the decision making that goes into these. See, I already made a mistake. I don't like that. I don't like the sharpness of the chin. I have a reference layer here. Very round. Their heads are very round. Let's get rid of this. Yes. Their heads are very round. So I want to make sure I maintain that roundness and get rid of my habit of making sharp chins. We'll round that out. And my aim is to try and get done a little bit more of a finished piece in the next 10 minutes. This video hopefully will not go longer than 20 minutes. I don't ever really want these to go longer than 15 or 10 minutes. I think that's just too long. Keep the nose rounded. And what I'm doing now is I'm defining my shapes. I'll go a little darker so that maybe it'll show up on the video a little clearer what I'm attempting to do. Very straight bangs right here. And they have these ear type appendages. I don't know what you call them. This is what makes them a squid. They have a little suction cup. Again, these guys are rounded. They don't really have many points. It makes them a little more accessible, cuter. You know, you want to hug them. You don't want to shoot them with paint. You want to hug them. The other ear. And again, I'm trying to keep it round, and I'm not going to entirely go. I don't want to recreate what they did. I want to try and bring something that I would do to the design, but still keeping the concept there. I kind of like their masks. This kind of reminds me of like a Robin from Batman. Could be pushed better. One issue I was initially running into when I did the rough was this area here, the eyebrow and the hair. In the reference image, she's got this kind of action going on. She's squinty, and then the hair's up here. So because she's squinty, lots of room for brows to sit in. But the second you open them up, and any sort of surprise, you know, we lose a lot of. It gets busy very quickly, is what I'm saying. So I took some time and I redrew this hairline several times. Wide-eyed. She's being shot at. What we got going on here? Let's really make sure we get the direction of the pupil, so we know where we're looking. It's a big one, especially in animation. You want to make sure your eye lines are correct. So I can already see that I want to push this a little more. It's just getting a little crowded. It's funny how just a nudge of a line makes such a difference. There we go. Okay, let's just keep moving. Again, I want to try and get something a little more finished. I won't add color to this, I don't think, in this sitting. But I'd like to maybe go back during the week and add some color. Let's streamline this from the sleeve right into the arm. Follow this around. A curve, a curve. We're coming from the shoulder, and make sure we follow that line into the elbow. A nice clean curve. Here's a break at the joint at the elbow. They have giant hands and feet. Massive, massive hands and feet. So let's kind of get this cylindrical. There we go. Let's clean that up. Got a little muddy in there. And this is more bulbous. It's kind of, this is where the paint goes, I guess. Even though she has a giant paint pack on her back. One, two, three, four. Massive round hands. Give the impression that there's some volume there. And this is kind of the cone shape, kind of coming out. This gave me a little bit of trouble too, how to conceptualize this. Now we look on time. We got about 5 minutes. Let's see what we can do in 5 minutes. Okay, moving along okay. The tank, what's going on with the tank? How does that look? So this is where my reference comes in. So it kind of has bolt looking type things. Let's just quickly get that in. I find this pose to be awkward. I don't know, I mean, like, this elbow is really strange. I don't know why. I don't know about that one. Don't know about that one. Let's get this cylinder, this paint pack in. Okay. And let's see, we're running into that issue, aren't we? Just like before I was talking about with the Titans, with the Aaand Titan. So with my initial thing was to stick that like into, if you can, let me zoom in, guys. But to do that, wrong. Undo. Nudge around, let's push it a little bit just so we're not running into each other, so we're not flattening the image out. Here's the other part of the strap. Okay, we'll zoom back out a little bit. Let's zoom really far out. This is one of the little tricks I do where I pull out as far away as I can. I squint. I'm squinting at the screen right now. And I'm trying to read the silhouette. And if it still is reading, if it's working, then I'm like, okay, I'm on to the right path. Let's just keep plugging away. Here's a curve going into another curve. And more straight, bends a little bit. And I like how streamlined they are. A curve, bent curve, and then a curve, calf, curve. And now I am not very good at drawing shoes, but I will make an attempt. And they have to reference the, for now I'm going to leave it just like that. I'll definitely have to reference the image, my reference image. Let's get the sole in there. And here's a detailing stripe. I'll go back into that later on, I think, and add some detail into it. I don't know how I feel about that. See how the leg is. Yeah, I mean, it could work. It could work. What I'm thinking about now is the leg kind of curving into us a little as she runs. You know, like we're seeing the bottom of her foot. I guess it works. I'll let it sit with me for a few days or a few hours. I'll check back on it later. And let's get the other shoulder in here. And we're just going to get a hint of the other shoulder. And again, the design process is all about, it's exactly what I was talking about with the Titan, you know, with these lines converging like that. That is a flat shape. Whereas this gives us some depth. This thing is receding behind, whatever this thing is, an elbow. This is receding behind this object, whatever this object is. Right? This concept. And it's all because of these three lines. Okay, let's see what else we can quickly do here before my time is out. I'll quickly wrap up a little bit. Maybe go a little more rounder with this. Like that. They have pointed ears. Okay. All right. Oh, she's looking. Let's get rid of this gobbledygook. Get out of here. All right, so there it is. There's our Splatoon kid. Maybe the ear is a little low. I think I would like to go back and adjust that at some point. Maybe, I mean, her head is rotated. As you can see, there's some rotation going on here. But maybe the ear is a tad low. I'd have to, I mean, because part of the other problem it's now is presenting itself is that in the reference, this, here, let me hide this and make a layer. The reference, we never see what's underneath of these, these. I don't know what's under there. And you can even see, like right here, it seems to be kind of stuck to the side of the head. And what I am doing is lifting it away from the head. Oops. So it's revealing this area underneath that there's no, it's not defined. I could do something like this and invent something, which, you know, to create like the idea of hair there, which is probably what I'll do. And I think that's about it. That's going to wrap it up for today's Wednesday lunch live sketch. Thank you very much for joining me. If you enjoyed what you saw, please sub to my channel or give me a circle or sub whatever. Follow me on some sort of Twitter or whatever that is. There's so many networks. It's mind-boggling. But once again, thank you very much for joining me, and I hope to see you next week.